A few weeks ago, we touched on the new California law dubbed the Reproductive Fact Act, a law that compels pro-life crisis pregnancy centers to promote abortion. Specifically, these pregnancy centers are required to post signs in their establishments, signs of a certain size and in specific locations, that inform patients where they can access free or low-cost abortion services. Before too long, and thank goodness for people who respect our constitutional rights, lawsuits were filed against California Attorney General Harris, claiming that the new law unconstitutionally violated speech rights and religious freedom. Joining me today from Live Action, a new media nonprofit dedicated to ending abortion and building a culture of life, is president and founder Lila Rose. Lila, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me on, Liz.
Now, you're one of the reasons I got into politics originally after Live Action Films released those videos years ago of the stings in Planned Parenthood. So I've never gotten a chance to directly thank you, but I want to thank you for that inspiration.
Well, I'm glad to hear it was inspiring for you.
Now, there are a couple of topics I want to cover today, but let's start with this Reproductive Fact Act. Now, this bill is a blatant violation of free speech. It compels religious pro-life centers to promote abortion against their moral and religious beliefs. In your opinion, will the courts recognize this and declare the law to be unconstitutional?
Well, it's no question that they absolutely should. It directly flies in the face of the First Amendment. It directly flies in the face of our freedom of speech. It's basically forcing pregnancy care centers, pro-lifers throughout the state of California to effectively post abortion advertisements on their walls. These are not-for-profit, free, confidential places for women, and the abortion industry and lobby in California has strong-armed them and basically violated their freedom of speech to try to force them to do this. So I think it's a very clear case of freedom of speech, but then it's also a case of what's best for women and children, and promoting and pushing abortion on women in California is only going to up the abortion rate. Even the most staunch pro-abortion advocates say that they want abortions to be safe, legal, and rare. Well, if you want abortions to be rare, you should be supporting women and providing other options for them, which is exactly what California's pregnancy care centers are doing.
Now, how detrimental do you think this law will be to pregnancy centers, in the sense that will these posters that promote abortion, advertise abortion, will they change the mind of these young ladies coming in to visit the pregnancy centers? Will it push them towards perhaps getting an abortion when they might not have by coming into the pregnancy center in the first place?
Well, I think, Liz, a lot of it actually has to do with the fact that if the pregnancy care center refuses to post the abortion notice in their facility, in their clinic, then they get fined thousands of dollars, and it could put them out of business. So it's actually, unless they comply with the abortion industry and become a promoter of abortions in their facility, which goes against their beliefs, it goes against supporting women in crisis and saying there are other options for you besides abortion. We're here to help you, provide free confidential support. So what this is actually potentially can do in California is shut down pregnancy care centers, because they're not getting taxpayer dollars. They're funded by private individuals providing free confidential services. They can't put up with thousands of dollars in taxes or in fines from the state if they don't put the abortion notice up. So that's what this is really about. It's trying to silence the freedom of speech of pro-lifers, shut down more options for women who are pregnant, and ultimately shut down pregnancy care centers in California.
So that affects not just individuals, not just the potential of it affecting a young girl who walks into a pregnancy center on an individual basis. That could affect women en masse, and that could actually restrict their choice by not really giving them any choice other than the abortion clinics. But let's move on to the videos released.
Exactly right.
Let's move on to the videos released by the Center for Medical Progress, which show scenes from inside Planned Parenthood clinics of aborted babies being ripped apart in order to harvest their organs and then sell them. What was your reaction to these videos?
Well, I think all the videos that have been released so far from the Center for Medical Progress are extremely horrific and heartbreaking. So you have top Planned Parenthood abortionists at the highest levels, including their director, senior director of medical services, the head of their basically abortionist council, their medical council, top executives describing in detail how they will support the harvesting of the children that they have killed in their abortion facilities, the harvesting of their parts, manipulating the abortion procedures in order to better have an intact specimen and be able to sell the heart, the lung, the liver, the brain. I mean, extremely barbaric activities on children up into the third trimester, past the second trimester, some children who are fully formed, and callous conversations about how they're making up to $100, maybe more per body part. This, of course, in tax-funded American Planned Parenthood abortion facilities that are operating in our communities all around our country, not just making money off of the suffering of women and abortion, but the money off of the killing and the selling then of the body parts of these children.